And a community in St. Louis, Missouri is still rattled after a 7-year-old boy was shot and killed in front of his home on Monday. The boy, identified as Xavier Usanga, was supposed to start school that day. Instead, his grieving family is trying to make sense of this senseless killing. Xavier has now become the 7th child killed in this community since June as a result of some ongoing violence there. Police are urging the public to come forward with any information, but residents are just too afraid. And now one city leader is asking for the governor to activate the National Guard to help win back the community from criminals. That city leader, Alderman Brandon Bosley, he's joining us now from St. Louis. Alderman, thank you for being with us today. Let's start with this. I understand that you knew Xavier and his family. Can you tell us a little bit more about him?
Well, he was an amazing young boy. You know, you got a lot of kids that live in a community, but, you know, ones that you really build relationships with are ones that really take to you. You know, he was one of the children in the community that would run up to you and give you a hug when he saw you and ask you how your day is going. You know, he's always with his sisters, who were very kind at the same time. And they all were like from a Lynx STL standpoint, they were our welcome committee in the neighborhood. You know, everybody knew who they were. Those were our community kids. You know, we always talk about we have to raise kids as a village. We were doing that as a village.
Yeah, obviously.
He was an amazing young man.
A future just taken away from an innocent child. So you have asked...
7.
You've publicly asked state officials to step in, to specifically activate the National Guard. How did you come up with this idea? And you know, do you really think it's the right decision for a community like this, given, you know, that Ferguson is still fresh in the minds of many people, and we saw how that played out when we saw the heavy militarization of the police force? Do you think the best move here is to ask the National Guard to come in?
So realistically, sometimes it's not always about the best move, because realistically, us being a city where there is such a reputation of having high crime and us being #1 for an extended amount of years, it's about the next move. What is the next move that we are going to take that's headed in any direction that's away from the one that we are in? While we all are trying to figure this out, we need to be trying any and everything, because we don't realistically have a solution to all this. Everybody is working in their official capacity, and that's the police, our public safety director, our chief. We are the mayor. We really realistically are trying to figure these things out. But there are hundreds of thousands of us that live in this city, and sometimes, you know, it's not about the few of us who are in control. It's about the thousands of us who are not in control. We are not in control of our children. We are not in control of our city. We are not in control of our blocks or areas. So we need individuals, from my perspective, who may come from the outside of the city, who can see it from a different perspective, seeing as we live here and they don't. And maybe some things have worked in other parts of the United States that could work here. So it's not, from my perspective, only about the National Guard. It's about being uncomfortable to get comfortable, and sometimes that's what it needs. You know, that's what it takes for us to get to a comfortable place to live in our city, to be able to lay down and not have to hear gunshots at night. You know, we're at a point where we don't even get under the bed.
And Alderman Bosley, what is your stance then on developing, you know, better community police relations, you know, as they call it, community policing? Do you think that might help eradicate some of this growing crime?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, that would help. But you got individuals who are afraid to step up and even police the community because of backlash. You know, you have the individuals who are the shooters running the neighborhood. So when you are afraid to say something that you saw for fear that that individual is going to come back and shoot you, that puts us all in the bind, and that creates an environment that we live in where we are afraid to even look out our windows or step up when it's time for us all to step up.
And lastly, a lot of people believe, you know, that gang violence is a result of economic oppression or lack of opportunity in the communities. What steps has your community taken in that respect? Are you getting outside help?
So we all talk about gang violence as being this thing that comes from lack of poverty. You can have all the money in the world and still find yourself in a situation where you feel like you are not loved, so you go to where there is some type of kinship, where there is some type of love. And you can find that in gangs, unfortunately, but it's not the right type. It's not the everlasting love, because as we see, when somebody gets shot generally and you are dead, your friends have ran away from the scene and they come back when the police are picking you up off the ground. They're not telling and saying, I was standing right there with my friend when he got murdered by such and such. You know, so
wow.
There is no real gang love, being realistic. There is community who loves the individuals who we are seeing fall. We have to step up as a community, and we need to be the biggest gang. We need to be the bigger individuals in the hood who run the block and let you know you can't do this on our corner, or you can't do this on this side of town. You have to take that somewhere else. We have to become our own gang.
Yeah,
the community.
It definitely sounds like your community is crying to come together and step up against all this violence, maybe perhaps outside of the police, and obviously a very heartbreaking situation with the death of Xavier. We extend our condolences to his family. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to be with us and speak about your city today.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity, and I just want everybody in St. Louis to know we have to step up to the plate. We cannot continue to allow these children to die under our eyes, under our watch. We are supposed to watch this city. We are the gatekeepers.
Alderman Brandon Bosley, thank you.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.